Welcome to the Irn-Cru, an NFL podcast made in Scotland discussing America's game. Week 16 is just about around the corner, so it's time for the preview crew. I'm your host Dan, and joining me tonight are some of the finest crew members. Now, normally, as people that are regular viewers or listeners know that I slag the guys off in this intro. It's my chance to have a go at the guys just for a bit of fun. But tonight it's Christmas, I'm going to be nice. But what I am going to do is test your home team knowledge, guys. We'll see how well you know your own team here, right? Come in a second, though. First up, I've got Stu. Stu, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good.
For you, sorry.
Yeah, just hanging out in the car again, as always. Last day of work kind of thing. So I was just getting some last-minute reports out the door and last few meetings, and then I'll be running off to get the last-minute Christmas presents.
Yeah, it was my last day today as well, so I'm delighted to be finished. Next up, I've got Big Chief himself, Studs. How you doing tonight, Studs?
Yeah, all good. I'll make it a hat trick as well. It's my last day as well today, so I'm off tomorrow and doing my good deed and doing the rounds as a big jolly red fellow tomorrow into a few schools.
Right, glad to hear it. Studs, do you know what, just a wee shout out something you were telling me before we came live, before we kick on a kick-off question. Just tell folks listening, watching what your wife and that does. That's a good story.
Yeah, my wife and our good friend Karen, what they've done over the last few years is they've basically contacted local schools in the Hamilton area and basically found out if there's any families that are really struggling over the Christmas periods. And what they do is, there's a whole group, a whole host of them now. They basically get together and get meals for over the Christmas period for these families that are really struggling. And they donate them into the schools. So as again, there's no sort of face-to-face, so there's not that kind of awkwardness or embarrassment of taking food off people you don't know type thing. So it gets donated into the schools, so as the kids and the families are getting a Christmas meal, some wee treats and stuff like that over Christmas. And it's started doing it a good few years ago, and it's kind of grown and expanded, so they're going into more schools. And this year they've been able to add a toy for each kid in the family as well, which is great. And genuinely can't thank the people of Hamilton and the surrounding area enough for their generosity and stuff. And obviously a massive shout out to all the women that are organising it between them. So that's kind of what I'm doing tomorrow, is delivering those food parcels in for families that are really struggling at this time of year.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing for them to do. So shout out to all of them, pal.
That's fantastic. Sounds like well done.
I know you guys genuinely think I'm a bit of a dick, but I'm actually not that bad. I'm quite nice sometimes.
I mean, just with everybody else.
I could say though, Studs, like, you know, obviously your partner's doing all the organisation and everything of it, and I see that you're taking the glory and doing the Jolly Saint Nick thing.
Not at all. I'm doing the heavy lifting. I need to carry the parcels. So, but no, as I said, it's all it was all my Karen and my wife's idea to kind of get it all started and stuff. And they really do. As much as I'm joking about doing the heavy lifting, they are really doing all the heavy lifting, like wrapping all the parcels, getting the bags together, making sure each bag's organised for the right amount of people in the family. So no, absolutely not. No glory in it for me, Stu. It's all about those good women. And
it's brilliant. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Well done.
Yeah. Excellent. Great to hear. Right, guys, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds here, right, because I know if I use any more than that, you could Google it and cheat, right? So what I want from both of you might know this already, it might be part of your knowledge of your team. Tell me, who is your team's all-time leading points scorer? There you go. If you know the answer, you can say you don't have to wait the 30 seconds.
I'm going to say Travis Kelce. It seems like an obvious one, but I'm not sure it is, but I'll go Travis Kelce for the Chiefs.
I'm going to go AJ Green.
Okay.
That's a good shout for the Bengals.
Guys, both are good shouts, but think of this logically. What players tend to get the most points for a team?
Always the kicker.
Kickers. So would you like to go another goal quickly?
Is it Jan Sternerud?
No.
Throw a random one out there.
Is it the Rattler?
Who's that?
Ken Anderson?
No. These are both failed miserably on your own team. But for the Bengals, it was Jim Breach, who was a kicker between 1980 and 1992.
For God's sake! That's a joke.
He scored 1,151 points. And for the Chiefs, it was Nick Laurie, who was at 1980 and 1993, scored 1,466 points. There you go, guys. And just to throw your theory out the window, the Cowboys' top point scorer, who is it?
Oh, it's not going to be a kicker, obviously, because that's the theory at the window then.
It's an obvious answer.
Emmitt Smith?
Correct.
Yeah.
986 points. Not bad going for a running back, eh?
That's excellent.
Well, guys, as the kickoff question we normally do, and I can normally put you on the spot and try and get an answer from you, but we've prepared this week's kickoff question because it is such a good theme. So, folks listening and watching, basically what we've done is we've done a crossover. Do you know what I've done, guys? I've done it every week. I forget to put the banners on. Every single week. There we go.
We're going to get the sack, man.
I know. That's what I'm trying to do. It's one of the ones you do the job that bad, you get sacked. So basically, we're having an NFL stroke Christmas number one crossover. So guys, basically what we've done, we've got homework. We've come up with some Christmas songs that have got an NFL related name within the song title. All right. So what we're going to do is we've got 15. We'll just rattle them off quickly. Studs is going to go first because the number one, what he's going to tell you it was my first favourite pick of all of them. I loved it when you shouted this one out. And then my second one was number 2. So Studs, you kick us off with your first 5.
Right, it's first 5. So we've got Marquise Navidad.
Nice.
Number 2, All I Want for Christmas is Sue. Number 3, Let It Sue, Let It Sue, Let It Sue. Then we've got number 4, I Saw Murray Kissing Santa Claus. And number 5 for me, Rashad White Christmas.
Yeah, a few crackers in there. 5 for me, so we've got Slay Another Day, and Darius Slay.
I like
that. That made me chuckle.
17 reference, fantastic.
And this one, I pulled a random name out of the hat for this one. Rock Ya Sin Around the Christmas Tree. Then we've got Jingle Bell Brock Purdy. And then O Tannehill, an old traditional one. My last one was a shout for Keith. Brady, It's Cold Outside.
It's a good one as well.
They're good. And Ghost, gives your 5.
My 5, number 1 here. I think this was one of yours, Dan, actually. Mary's Cowboy Child. Which is excellent. Number 2, Jingle, my cousin, Le'Veon Bell. My favourite, number 3, Little Saint Nick Folk. Number 4, this is one of Keith's actually, this was excellent. Silent Snap Count Night.
That was good as well.
And then number 5, Holly Jolly Checkdown Pass.
Yeah, so absolute crackers in there, guys. That was a good laugh in that. We're doing our homework for this one. So, folks are listening and watching. If you've got any other shouts you think should be included in our follow-up album, then get a shout on Twitter. I'm just about to put it out on Twitter right now. The post with Keith's artwork was brilliant, wasn't it? The Irn-Cru Christmas album, guys. I'm just literally going to tweet it right now. It is on the Twitter right this second. I'll get the guys to add it. I might get Keith to add it on the Instagram or something later, but it's on the Twitter now. So, any follow-ups or any other suggestions you think we could add to the Christmas album, let us know, guys. Hey, guys, normally in the preview crew, we pick some games and we discuss them and we argue about who's going to win, and then we curse teams and they end up losing because of us. This week, we're going to have a bit of a change. We're at week 16, so we're getting close to that time of the season where the playoffs are just about around the corner. Now, what we're going to do is basically get our predictions for the playoff picture. I don't want to leave it any later than this, guys, because it gets to week 17, week 18. It kind of starts getting a bit obvious who's going to be there. So now this is a chance for us to make an arse, really, and get our predictions completely wrong, as we normally do. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to run through AFC, NFC, and basically we'll give our 8 teams that we think will make the playoffs. Or 7 teams, sorry. 8, 7, 8, whatever it's going to be. 7, I know, I was like, so 7 teams that we think are going to make the playoffs. So we'll start with the AFC first, guys. So we've already got the Ravens, so the Ravens are already in, all right? So he's only need to pick 6, all right? So Studs, wake up yourself first. Both of you are AFC guys, obviously, so you want to have a say in this, and I will. So Studs, who are your other 6 teams and why?
Well, obvious one for me is going to be the Chiefs, who I think qualify this weekend when they beat the Raiders in Arrowhead. So that takes them right out of the equation. I think we'll finish second overall, if I'm honest. So after that, I'm going to throw a wee... I think the Jags are going to drop out. I just don't think they're playing that great at the moment. So I actually think you're going to get the Texans and the Colts in there. I think the Colts have, if I remember right, Colts have got a tiebreaker over the Texans, I think, just now. So for me, I think Colts are going to take that division, and then I think you're going to get the Texans in there as well. Then think you're looking at the Dolphins are obviously strong favourites to get in. We've got a tough run in, to be honest. So I don't see them dropping out at all at the moment. Which then leaves you're looking at Browns, Bengals, Bills, probably fighting out for those last couple of spaces. So obviously, for me, I think the Bengals at Arrowhead, I think that's going to be too much for them at that point. So I think they're probably just going to miss out, if I'm honest. I think you're looking at the Browns, and I would love to see the Bills fall out, to be honest. Now, for the pure story of it, I would love to see Jake Browning getting into the playoffs. I really would. But I just think it's going to be a step too far. So I think you're looking at Browns, Bills as the other two.
Interesting. So you're going Ravens, Dolphins to win the AFC East.
Yes.
Chiefs to win the West. Colts or Texans to win
Colts
the South.
to win the South. I think they'll get the tiebreaker.
And then you're going to have the three wild cards as such. You're going to have
Texans, Browns, and Bills.
Oh, interesting. I can. This is the thing at the AFC. It is so close. I mean, so close. Just before I come to you, Stu, I'm just going to read this out. So, taking out the four. Well, I'm not going to take the four because the Jags still count. So you've got the Jags at 8-6, number 4 seed currently. And Browns are 9-5. Bengals are 8-6. Colts are 8-6. Texans are 8-6. Bills are 8-6. Steelers and the Broncos are 7-7. There's so many teams in the AFC that are still in with a shout with 3 weeks to go.
Yeah,
it's normally the NFC that's really poor, but normally they've all got losing records. The NFC try to get into the playoffs.
Could still happen.
Sorry.
Could still happen in the NFC this year.
I know. Well, Stu, I know you're going to disagree with one of those teams, so give us your 7 AFC teams.
I mean, I disagree with some of what you said, Studs, but not for the reasons that you guys probably suspect. And also, I went with 8. What I did was I did 8 teams for each division. I won't show you the NFC one yet, just to kind of give the spoilers away, because what I decided to do is do the 7 that make it and then have like a cut line to say who's coming 8th and who's just missing out. And, you know, just straight off the bat, my number 8 team is the Bengals. I don't think they're making the playoffs, and it's purely, like you say, Studs, I can't see us winning all 3 of our games to end the year. And I think even if we do, I was looking at some of like just the playoff kind of scenarios, like in the wind down to the year. There is a world where we can win all 3 of our games and we still don't make it. Because I mean, right now, if you look at our divisional record, we're 0-4.
And the divisional record's a killer.
It's like, even if we win the 2 games, it's like, okay, cool, we might claw back a bit on the, you know, if the Steelers somehow end up in the mix, but I don't have them making it, so they're not there. Then even our AFC record, we're 3-6-0. We've been making NFC. We beat everybody in the West. That includes the Niners and that as well, like in their division. But we've just not been doing it in the AFC. So for that reason, I think we're going to be the team that misses out. And even like the playoff models, it's like, it seems to be kind of pretty much all over the shop. Like, I think NFL.com had us at sitting like 56, 57% or something like that to make the playoffs. But then the Athletics got us down at 15. And that's purely because of the AFC and the divisional tiebreakers. I think our only real path in is if either the Colts or the Texans win their division, which is sort of what you said. So it kind of flies in the face of what I've just said, or what you said, Studs, which sort of that's your prediction. For me, just to kind of run through it, the way I've got it is obviously Ravens. Yeah, I think I still have them winning the whole thing for the AFC. So they'll be number 1 seed. I do think Miami holds on to stay ahead of the Chiefs. I know your run-in's a bit easier, but I think they're there kind of thing. So I have them second. Chiefs finishing 3rd, winning their division. I don't really see any problems for you doing that kind of thing from here on out. I still have the Jags winning the division, but I went back and forth on this so many times. Like, same thing as you. Like I kind of sat looked at it and I'm like, well, it could be the Colts, but it could be the Texans. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before, like just a bit over the last few weeks, just in terms of like what coaches are doing well. Like I know I was kind of pumped a bit for for Steichen, and then DeMarco Ryans as well. Like they've done really well, and they could be in for both of them. I think are worthy of nods for Coach of the Year, as well in there. But to me, I see the Jags doing it. Cleveland, I think they clinched their spot this weekend. I don't know if they will finish fifth, but I think if they win this weekend, there's no way they can't make the playoffs from here on out, just because of their, again, like the tie breaks and everything else they have going for them. Same as you, I think the Bills are making it. I've got them finishing sixth as well, because I think they're going to do enough to get in, and then the Colts are the last team I have making it for the AFC. But yeah, unfortunately for the Bengals, like it's been great, like watching Browning and that, but I just Chase is out for this weekend. I don't know if you guys clocked that news earlier, for injuries as well, and the fact that DJ Reader went down last week. Our run defense has been kind of not the best this year, anyway. But now that he's gone, the guy's a man mountain, and he's probably been one of the best parts of defence all season, or at least one of them. Him and Hendrickson have basically been the most consistent parts of the defence. So the fact that he's gone and now Chase is missing a week and stuff, I don't know. I think things have just added up too much, and I can't see us kind of winning out. So we're not making it.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I'm just looking at the percentage. As you mentioned, the Browns. If the Browns win this weekend, their percentage to get into the playoffs goes up to 99%. So obviously they're in. Chiefs are the same. Chiefs win, they're in. The Dolphins win, which they won't, obviously. They're in. So from my perspective, yeah, the Ravens and Dolphins and Chiefs and so that's the same three. The AFC South. The thing is, we're talking about the Browns. When the Browns are playing the Texans this weekend, so that's going to be huge for playoff implications. But and I think the problem's going to be that CJ Stroud looks like he's not going to clear concussion protocol.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too.
That's huge. I think if the Texans were to win, I think they would be pretty much not would stick on again, but I think they would get in. I think they're going to struggle if they've not got CJ Stroud this weekend. I want them again. I would love the Texans to get in. It's been some story this year.
Yeah,
I think they're going to struggle without Stroud this weekend, and then after that, who have they got next week?
I think.
I'm just
I think that's the killer. As I say, they play Cleveland this weekend, and then they play the Colts in the last weekend. So that's where it becomes difficult for the Texans. They need to really win this weekend.
They've got Titans in between as well. So yeah, realistically, they need to win those three games to get in, and they're going to struggle without CJ Stroud this weekend.
Dan, on the Titans, are they?
Yes.
Are the Titans even actually completely out of it yet?
Yeah, they are. They're 5-9. They're out.
Not eliminated yet. It was just because when they won the other week, I was like, Christ, could they somehow end up winning their division if the Jags lose out? And
it's quite funny because the Chargers are 5-9 and they are just still in. Right, doesn't matter. Like they've got 1% chance of getting in. Right, but they're still in. But the Jets and the Titans are both out on 5-9, and the Patriots are obviously out at 3-11. But the Chargers may as well be out. Do you know what I mean?
For me, I think the reason I'd kind of said the Chiefs overtake the Dolphins is purely because we've got Cowboys this week and then Ravens next week. I don't think the Dolphins win the two of them, which then puts us ahead on the tiebreaker. If we win out our games and if they drop one game, we go ahead in the tiebreaker because we beat them in Frankfurt. So that's kind of where I see us going ahead of the Dolphins. As I say, I don't think they beat the Cowboys and the Ravens.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I forgot they had the Ravens next week. Yeah, that's a good shout, to be fair. That would be the Chiefs winning, though.
I was just
Chiefs will win the three. We've got the Ravens. Who have we got? We've got the Ravens.
Raiders this week.
Chargers last week.
So you've got Raiders, and then you've got where are these?
The Bengals.
Bengals. Sorry, because I mentioned it earlier on. So it's Ravens. So it's Raiders, Bengals, Arrowhead, and the Chargers. So the next two are at Arrowhead, and then I think we're away to SoFi Stadium, which will basically just be like Arrowhead away anyway, because you can't get any Chargers fans in.
The thing is, the weird thing is, you say this is the type of game for some reason that the Chiefs have not won this year. You should win this game, and then they don't.
Well, we beat the Raiders comfortably last time, so Pretty confident we'll.
To be fair, you've got the Raiders with Aidan O'Connell, the Bengals with Jake Browning, and the Chargers with Easton Stick. So
aye. That's a hockey player's name, surely. Easton Stick.
There's a lot of bloody brand. Well, Easton, is it?
That's what that definitely wanted him playing ice hockey.
We've digressed. Sorry, so I was. I'm going to go. I haven't even looked at the fixtures just purely because I want them to win the division. I'm going to go with the Colts to win the South. I think the Jags still get in. Browns will get in.
Yeah, but
I don't want the Bills to get in. I don't want the Bills to get in after last week. But it's going to be the Bills on the team that's on form at the moment, isn't it?
Aye.
So I'm going to go Ravens, Dolphins, Chiefs, Colts, Browns, Jags, Bills. No particular order. But
I love the fact that we're all putting the Bills in, and this is like after all year. Like I can't say this enough. Every single time we back the Bills to do well, they stand on a banana skin. And then every time we're like, well, that's them. The playoff window is shut. It's over. It's done with. They're cooked. They need to blow it up and rebuild. They then win or whatever, or they beat some impossible team that we never thought they'd be able to beat, and they do it kind of reasonably convincingly. And now we're talking as if, the Bills they're totally walking into the playoffs, and then watch they'll be contenders, kind of thing. So maybe do the opposite of what we say, people.
I'm sure I put it in the chat that they're going to lose to. They'll find a way to lose to the Chargers this week after three good games.
They've got the Chargers, then the Patriots, and the Dolphins.
Aye.
So they win at least two of them.
I noticed
in Miami as well.
Not mentioned the Broncos.
I know. I was looking at them there. I was looking at them.
So what? Yeah, what is the Broncos running? Because I mean, that is something I've bigged them up a bit. Over the Patriots massacre or whatever.
They've got the Patriots this week, and then they've got the Raiders in the last week. I just don't know who they've got in between.
They have got Chargers. Chargers are playing everybody in the last 3 games.
Chargers have got like games like before the end of the season. It's like somehow they're just getting forced to play everybody. Like get some experience for Stick.
So there's a look at it. So
the Broncos actually, as much as we
Broncos
just
could
mention them, like the run-ins, not that hard, like in the grand scheme of things.
We've got a 33% chance of getting in according to NFL.com at the moment. Sorry, currently sitting at 23%. If they win this weekend, it goes up to 33%. So
their tiebreaker record must be brutal. Then if it's that low, even if they win, it only go up to 33%.
If they win out, right? Say they win out, which there's a good possibility they could. They'll finish the season 10-7, right? So if you look at it, so we said the Browns. So the Browns will be 10-5 more likely this weekend, right? So the Browns, so those last 2 places. So the Jags are 8-6, the Colts are 8-6, and the Bills are 8-6. So if the Broncos win out, they only need maybe one of them to drop maybe one game, and they could be in.
It's possible.
It's possible.
That's right.
Who knows? Uncommon is the theme last year? I think, wasn't it? Uncommon was their spiel last year. Yeah, that's one to watch. The Broncos I think the Broncos are the one to watch. I mean, the Texans. I want the Texans again. I love the Texans again. If Stroud's back this weekend, they've got a chance. If he's not, they lose this weekend, they're pretty much done, I think. But
I mean, I would love them to win because I actually thinking about it because the Bengals, we beat the Colts, so we do have the tiebreaker on them. So I think for us to make it, we would, not that we need it, but the easiest way for the Bengals to get in is if the Texans win that division because they have the tiebreaker over us. Whereas if they're a division champ, it doesn't bloody matter. Like they're out of it. We're not in that wild card kind of argument with them. So yeah, I would also personally love the Texans to make it. Many reasons.
I do wonder though, what if all 3 of them lose this weekend and they all go 8-7? That makes it very interesting. I think that's the only way Texans have got a chance. If they've not got CJ Stroud this weekend, they need the other 2 teams to lose as well
to
have a chance.
And that brings Pittsburgh up to 8-7 as well. So that puts 4 of them on.
And the Broncos on 8-7.
Well, I mean, the Jags, they are playing a team that we're probably going to talk about at length in a second tier when we moved to the NFC. They're playing Baker Mayfield in the Bucks. So, a Jags win, especially when they're playing the way they've been playing, is not a foregone conclusion. So,
yeah, so the Jags lose to Tampa Bay, the Texans lose to the Browns, Colts losing to the Falcons. That's very unlikely, to be fair, but stranger things have happened. Do you know what I mean? But even if
change quarterback, like the Falcons are changing quarterbacks again, but I mean,
yeah,
they're a team that they don't seem to go away, and their defense is really good. It's one of those things where the Falcons have been in a lot more games this year than I really thought they were going to be. Like, I knew their defense was going to be solid, but you look at them and they're just kind of they're hanging about there. Like, honestly, I think if you give that team a quarterback, like even one that's like, it doesn't even need to be the best one in the league. If you give them like a kind of top 10, top 12 quarterback for the NFL, I think they would have been easily into the playoffs, especially.
What if he had someone like, I don't know, maybe like Marcus Mariota, maybe?
Well,
you know what I mean?
not him, but
He'd have probably done a decent job for them this year. Do you know what I mean? But do you know what else? Do you know what else they need? They need a running back, don't they? I think that's one thing the Falcons really need is a running back.
Or just use the generational talent they've got.
Yeah.
I know.
To be fair, Annie Agar summed it up brilliantly this week with her comments. She says, "Oh, you bring Bijan Robinson? Yeah, so he can block." I ain't bother. She was brilliant. Anyway, guys, that's AFC. I think the AFC is going to really heat up, and I think there could be a lot of teams on 8-7 this weekend. That's going to make it even more interesting. Let's flip it over. Sorry, you were saying?
Hang on it down. Like, I'm just going to say, I'm pretty happy that it is like far from a foregone conclusion. Like, who's actually making it at this season, kind of thing. It's like there's still question marks there. Like, sure, we might know who. Like, I mean, you're right. Miami could maybe slip up and lose out in that division, but it seems like 3 of the divisions are sewn up probably. But the rest of it, it's like there's a whole bunch of teams that are still in the hunt and still have a chance. Like even the Steelers, like, I doubt they do it, but they're still hanging about there. Like,
yeah, I think if the Dolphins lose out, I still think they'd still make the playoffs because they'll be 10-7. I think they'll still be in. So yeah. Right, let's flip over, guys, to the NFC. So already in, we've got the Niners, the Cowboys are currently 1 and 2s, Eagles are currently 5, so 3 of them are in. So this side of the draw is going to be easy for you guys, realistically. Stu, I'll come to yourself first. So currently in the playoff positions at the moment, we've got the Lions, the Bucks, the Vikings, and the Rams. Within the bubble, we've got the Seahawks, the Saints. That's the only teams that have got a 500 and above record. The other ones are still obviously hanging about, but that's your kind of 6 teams that are 500 and above. So where's the NFC going?
We have got I think the Niners are going to take the number 1 seed. I have them there. I've got Lions finishing in the 2nd slot, just because I could see them. I think they play the Vikings twice in the last 3 weeks, don't they?
Yeah.
And just the way the Vikings have looked the last few while, as much as like their defense has been absolutely awesome for a while until they faced Jake Browning and the mighty Bengals last week.
In the 4th quarter, just 4th quarter, Jake Browning.
That 4th quarter in overtime, just like right down your throat, Brian Flores. There we go. But no, like I feel like the Vikings, they don't have enough, like on the offensive side of the ball, kind of thing. Like it's like the Dobbs things kind of failed. Mullins did pretty well against us, but as much as the Lions' defense can be up and down, I have that as like 2 Lions wins. And I think that's going to take the Vikes out of it. And I also think, well, that means Lions win that division and they're going to end up with a record that's like they'll finish above the Cowboys. I've got Cowboys finishing 3rd, so they do beat the Eagles out for the division title as well. Because interestingly enough, I've actually got the Cowboys beating the Finns this week in the battle of the NFC Cowboys versus the AFC Cowboys, as I like to call the Dolphins, because they're very similar teams, and they put up loads of offense and stuff, but they seem to not like beating good teams occasionally. Is that fair, Dan?
Well, to be fair, as you say that, the Dolphins are 10-0 against 500 or less teams this year. The Dolphins haven't beat a winning team with a winning record this season.
That's what I mean. So this week, I think the Cowboys are going to do it. So then, apart from that,
and we're at home as well. We don't lose at home.
Yeah, don't lose at home. So then, apart from that, I'm not really making much. I'm not really making many changes to it because, like, to be honest, I think the Bucks do win their division, so I've got them 4th. Then after that, Eagles are locked in at 5th. Then it's after that when it gets a bit squiggly, and going by who they've got left and the way they've been playing, I think the Rams are actually going to they're making it, and I think they're moving up to 6th. So I've got them in there. And then beyond that, this is where it gets really hard because there's so much meh. Like I say, the Vikings are falling off a bit, and I think they do lose those two Lions games. So if they only win one more game, is that going to be enough to get them in? Then apart from that, you then get the Falcons. I'm like, do they make it? Did the Saints make it? So I ended up just basically tossing a coin and going, you know what, somehow the Saints make it. Kind of think they're the last team that goes in for me. And it's not really justified on anything other than I think a lot of those teams are all just so kind of middle of the road. But it's exciting because there's a whole bunch that can make it.
Yeah, there is. Over yourself then, Studs. How do you see it going?
Oh, again, similar to what Stu was saying, it's difficult to kind of see the teams that are in, some of the teams in there kind of falling out. Obviously, we've got the 3 ones. I think, same as Stu, I think 49ers take the number 1 seed. Where I think I'm probably going to differ. I think Cowboys take 2 because I think the Cowboys go to Detroit and beat the Lions next week.
Okay.
I think the Lions defense has been starting to struggle a wee bit, and albeit take last week as an anomaly, and I think Dak and CD are certainly finding form. So I think they take 2. Looking at the Lions, same as Stu, I think they beat the Vikings home and away, so they're taking 3. That leaves you with 4, which I think Baker's just going to wrap that up. Vikings have got dropped out. I'll no beat about the bush with it. I think, again, the Rams' schedule, when you look at it, is too good. Do you know what I mean? You've got Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp's back. He's starting to find them. Puka Nacua has been Puka Nacua all season. I think the Rams are going to move up to 6. And I think, looking at the schedule, I think the Seahawks are going to sneak in there.
Right. I never mentioned that was the other team that I had kind of floating out. Them and the Saints. I was starting going,
the reason I've kind of got the Saints drop out is they go to Tampa next week. So the Saints looking at it this week. So they're playing the Rams this week. Yeah. I've got the Rams winning that. They then travel to Tampa next week, and I've got Tampa beating them there. So that's the Saints dropping 2 games right away. And the Seahawks have got winnable games. Seahawks are... So Tennessee Titans this week. They finish with Arizona Cardinals in the last week as well. And I can't remember at the moment who's got in. Steelers, that's who it is. So, so for me, that's where I think the kind of Steelers I think this result against the Eagles on Monday Night Football has just kind of made the Seahawks season, and it's just given them that wee boost, and I think they're going to ride that confidence into the last 3 games.
Interesting. So, guys, I do not want to disagree with you guys, but my heart is going to, because the Niners are wanted, no doubt about it. My issue is that we need the Eagles to drop a game, right? The Eagles are playing the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants. Which of those 3 games are the Eagles losing in your 2 minds? Both of them?
I mean, I think Tommy will have something to say.
I can't see them losing any of those 3 games. And obviously I want them to. I just can't see. I mean, as much as Tommy DeVito's doing a great job, but I just can't see the Eagles losing to them.
The Eagles, as Kev's mentioned on the review crew through most of the season, the Eagles have just been doing enough. They've been found out the last 3 weeks. For me, they should have been found out at Arrowhead as well. But they've just been doing enough. And I think that's their secondary is definitely beatable. And that's where I think, obviously, they like to say Saquon Barkley, and that I think they're going to step up. Tommy DeVito, again, I think he's going to get at least 1 out of the 2, probably up at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. So the thing is, their secondary is beatable, but the Giants don't have any wide receivers.
Dan Waller's coming back.
To the Chiefs and they win games. So
yeah, well, that is true. Well, but you think about it, on the flip side of it, their run defense is what they've struggled with. The Cardinals have got Connor. Mm-hmm. They've also got Hollywood. and McBride. So you never know with the Cardinals. Never know.
Right, you found out about the Cardinals earlier in the season.
You've swung exactly. See,
before they had Tyler.
They've now actually got a quarterback.
I know.
Right, guys, you've swung me. I've decided. Right, I'm going with it. Fuck it. I'm in. I'm all in.
Speak it into existence, Dan. Speak it into existence.
Cowboys number 2 seed. Right. I agree. Lions take the 3.
Yeah.
Bucks take the 4. Eagles take the 5. I think that's pretty much all set in stone. Those 5 teams in whatever order it's going to be in terms of Cowboys and Eagles is your 5. I think the Rams are in as well. I'm going to throw a random name, not a random name. I'm going to just pull one out there that I think is a bit left field. The Packers. I think the Packers might, if results can go their way, I think they could sneak in.
I think the problem with the Packers is their week 17 game is a tough one. So they've got Carolina this week and they finish with the Bears, and it's their week 17.
I looked at it 2 minutes ago and I've completely forgot. Vikings? No, really?
Actually, no, we did speak about that. I spoke about that in the preview, Corey, actually.
So that would have them finishing 9-8, right? Which is going to need a bit of
some
help. But it wouldn't be our predictions without a random name being thrown in, would it? I mean, they currently have an 18% chance of getting in. Do you know what I mean? But we always see every year we see it. Comes down to the last game of the season. There's some random play happens that throws somebody at the playoffs at the last second and lets somebody else in.
But did you see the Packers defense this week? No. And they're coming up against Justin Fields as well, who will run, and the Packers. In fact, the Packers couldn't stop Baker Mayfield throwing the ball all over them.
I've just thrown something in for the sake of it.
Oh, Dan, I totally respect that that shout. I do agree with Studs though, because I look at that last week and I can see the Bears doing their typical Bears thing where they end up screwing themselves over. And it doesn't really matter because of number 1 pick locked in with Carolinas, but I see them doing their typical Bears thing and winning a game they shouldn't bloody win. Or maybe, shouldn't win in terms of not that they can't do it through skill, just that they shouldn't win because they should be thinking about their draft picks at the end of the year. But, for them, I look at it and go, they have, even if you go, Justin Fields is just going to throw the ball and not run it. They have like Foreman. They have, I forgot his name. Other than Herbert as well. It's like they have good running backs. It's like they do have a good running game. So the Packers could struggle there, and especially if they're just like, Ken, what? Let's send a message before next season, kind of thing, and let's show you who owns who. After all the Aaron Rodgers stuff in the last few years, like there's some axes to grind there for the Bears, and some messages to be sent. So,
well, was it not the last game at Soldier Field the last time they played at Soldier Field was there, and Rodgers giving it I own you to the fan after some choice words. Yeah, I still own you. So I think,
guys, you swung with the Cowboys. I'm sticking with this one. I'm just putting my neck on the line. Going with the Packers.
I think before last week I did a prediction and I think I had the Packers get in, but I just can't see it. I think they had to win. They had to beat the Bucks this week for me.
Aye. Yeah. No, that's a fair point. And I never looked at last week's fixtures and results before I'd done this because I forgot they get beat at Bucks. But I kind of back down when it's my own team for obvious reasons, but I'm not back down this. Right, so that's it. So the playoff picture is set. We've decided that's what's happening. So let's have a bit of a third and top 10, guys. Right, this one I flung this one in here because the question relates somewhat to the playoffs. All right. So as we know, the playoffs, our teams want to get home field advantage. That is your home field advantage. Of playoffs is the Arrowhead Invitational, as you call it, Studs. All right. So what I want to know, right, and we're not going to go over this for too long. Top 10 teams since 1967, which is effectively Super Bowl 1, with the highest win percentage at home. All right. So this stat doesn't tell me whether it's regular season, playoffs, whatever. So just full stop, best winning record by win percentage at home since 1967. What I'll do is I'll give you 3 shouts each, and then we'll take it from there. So start with yourself, Studs. Give me your first one.
I'm going to. You mentioned earlier on about your team don't lose at home. I'm going to go Cowboys.
Cowboys are third, 0.666. Ooh.
Ooh, number of the beast.
Stud.
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers are number 1, 0.686.
So yeah, just with the years of dominance, like the 70s into the 80s, and then Tomlin just, even in the last few years, I know Steelers fans are maybe for some reason inexplicably getting on his back. I'm kind of going like, I don't care what coach you have, if you've got like a mixture of Pickett, Trubisky, and Rudolph as your starting quarterback, you're gonna struggle. But just over the last couple of decades, or the last kind of 15 odd years or however long he's been in there, like it just seems like the Steelers don't lose at home, kind of thing. So
yeah,
that was my reasoning.
Right, Studs, number 2 for yourself.
Again, off the back of probably our most recent dynasty, I'm going to go the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots are in there. Let me just check where they are. 2, 4, 6, 8th, 0.624. Stu.
Okay. This one's a bit hard, or I'm going to go a little more. You know what? No, I'm going to go Packers. I think Packers is
They are in there. Number 7, 0.646.
Last one I'll go for Philadelphia.
Oh, no.
Miles it.
6, 8, 10, 12, 13th. Stu, you go 3 out of 3.
My last one, I'm going to go with another divisional rival, the Cleveland Browns. No, obviously no, the Cleveland Browns. No, Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens, number 2. Even though they've not played as many games, but they've still got a percentage of 0.685.
Another one I was swirled between the Eagles was the 49ers again, just purely because they had that era of dominance was kind of where I was looking.
11th.
Jeez.
The top 10 are all 0.600 and above, 600 and above. The 49ers are 599. So you've got, what did you get? He's got 5. Right, so Steelers are 1, Ravens are 2, Cowboys are 3. So you need to get 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Just throw random names at me.
The Bears, they've been about for ages.
Nah, they have been, but they're not the top 10.
In history, like have they got the lowest?
The Bears are kind of they're bottom half somewhere.
Yeah, the Cardinals have the worst record, I think, of all time. I actually knew that. Remember right. And maybe the Colts.
Nope.
Seahawks.
Yes, number 10.
Yeah,
Seahawks 0.607.
Not the Broncos.
Yes.
The Broncos are in.
Broncos are number 5.
Wow, that's so much higher than I thought. Like, recency bias is really a thing, like, to be honest, because I kind of feel like just because they feel like they've been bad for a while, but I guess like the Manning years they were excellent, and then they obviously had periods of dominance at various times before that. So,
yeah. What about Buffalo Bills?
Nah.
Did
you get Vince? Who did you say? Sorry. Raiders, no, they're just outside. They're the 49ers just outside. Right, time's up, guys. I'll read through the list. Steelers 1, Ravens 2, Cowboys 3, number 4, Vikings 0.663, Broncos 5, 6, Dolphins 0.647.
And we've never seen the Dolphins.
Packers, 2, 4, 6. Packers at 7. Patriots at 8. 9, the Chiefs.
Oh. But you didn't I just assumed you'd said that. I forgot that hadn't been said because I assumed you would have said them first.
And then the Seahawks at number 10. So, yeah. So there you go, guys. That was a good one. He's done all right, actually.
And there, right. You go, I get that.
He's done all right. I enjoyed that, right, guys. So, since we're not covering any games this week, we're just going to do our usual rest in one. So, we'll basically read you out some games and one word answers who's going to win them. We probably actually have already answered all these in the conversation we've just had about the playoffs. But
we'll just summarise and then we can go back and check and see if what we said earlier.
if we contradicted ourselves or not.
Yeah.
We'll do usual clockwise order, so we'll start with yourself, Stud. So we've got the Saints and the Rams.
For me, it's Cooper Cup's back. I think they're just going to dominate the Saints.
Stu?
Rams. I think Williams is going to run all over the top of them to try and help me in one of the fantasy leagues.
Yeah, the Rams are getting the Crew curse. I'm going for the Rams as well.
Actually, I completely derail everything here, Dan. Am I playing you in the Jobby Bowl playoffs for the grid for the Cruise?
You might be. I think you might be. Let me just check. Is the NFL one? Is it NFL or the sleeper one?
Sleeper.
Because
I had a bye week last week, so I've not really looked.
Yeah, because you had a bye because you did that badly. I mean, I love the fact I just missed out in the playoffs, and then what happens is I end up bloody losing week 1. Or I think it was Scud's team or something like that. Like I ended up losing out to, so I'm getting flushed closer to the Jobby Bowl. Like me and my Mahomes on my team, kind of thing that I thought I was going to do excellent with. And
but you know the thing is, last week, right? I was on the bye week, and my players all turned up for the first time this season.
When it doesn't matter, that's fantasy.
I was like, what? I would have beat 2 teams that played in the top playoffs. I'd have just been beat by Studs. You would have just beat me last week.
It doesn't help me because I get beat.
So it's me and you this week, but you're predicted to beat me by a decent margin. So the moment I'm showing is 98 points, you're 122.
Weeks and I always bloody lose. So.
And I've not really got any changes I can make to my team to make it any better.
Hey, what? Seeing as it's the Jobby Bowl and it doesn't matter for the championship, and it literally just impacts who finishes like asshole last. Why don't we make this interesting?
Go for it.
Okay, why don't we just do a positional battle where we pick one player and we just bench the rest of our team? Kickers only.
I knew where this was going.
Kickers at dawn.
We just drop all our players and keep our kickers in.
But not actually drop them because we don't want other people picking them up on waivers.
No, you just bench them all and leave your kicker in.
Bench
Can you
all
bench
players.
them?
Just play kickers.
You can basically leave your positions empty.
We better check with the commission that doesn't break any rules.
I'm just offering it up there as like, why not for the banter? Because it's no different.
So just looking at teams, I've completely derailed this conversation, but look at the teams. You've got Hopkins as your kicker.
Yes.
I have a choice.
Oh, you've got 2.
I've got 2, yes.
You've got Aubrey.
I wish. No, in fact, I don't
offered this.
Aubrey's only going to get 1 pointers this week. I have Youngwei Koo.
Ooh, the legend.
Or Butker.
Oh, the butt kicker.
So, let's take it to the commission, see what the commission is.
Yeah, take it to the commission. I mean, if I'm you, I would play, like, being totally honest, I would play Koo just because I think that Butker's also getting 1 pointers.
Yeah, well, Koo's currently in my starting lineup.
So sorry, I'm glad I just completely derailed that, but I like it.
Let's get back on track on that one.
Right, anyway, let's get back. So
Rams will get the Crew curse.
So Bengals and the Steelers.
Bengals, I still think we do it. I know that was even me that was to go. It was Studs, but I'm just like, Bengals.
Aye, I think Reindeer Boz is going to get run all over the top of. Logan Wilson's going to eat him up. I'm going Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals for me as well. One we spoke about in great depth. Browns and Texans.
I think again it depends if Stroud's fit. It really does for me. Similar to what you were saying, Dan. If Stroud's fit, I think the Texans take this one. If not, I just don't see a way Case Keenum wins.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Brian should be extremely happy because he has been incessant talking all year about other teams getting lucky and playing backup quarterbacks and how the Browns never get any luck and how hard done they are, and so if they are going to play Keenum like that should make him happy for once, I guess. But yeah, no, I totally agree. If Stroud's out, Texans aren't winning, and I think the Browns win. For the Bengals, I would love the Texans to win though, so Texans.
Yeah, same logic. Stroud's in, they win. Stroud's out, they lose. That's the way I'm looking at it. Again, another matchup we kind of mentioned earlier on, Lions and Vikings.
Right. Lions for me.
Lions. Yep, easy.
Yeah.
As discussed.
Jags and Bucks.
I'm going Bucks on that one.
I'm also going Bucks as well on this one. Mayfield, shout out to him for this could possibly be the statistic of the week, by the way. But I never actually thought of one. I don't know if you have one, Dan. My statistic of the week then is I think Baker Mayfield is I think he was the first quarterback to have a perfect record at Lambeau Field.
First visiting quarterback
to have a perfect record at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
It's Baker Mayfield, so I think he's going to be too strong this week as well, and I think the Bucks win.
Yeah, Bucks for me as well. Cowboys, Dolphins.
Cowboys.
I'm also taking Cowboys. Cowboys at home, I think they're too strong in the battle of the Cowboys of each division. Conference.
AFC Cowboys versus the NFC Cowboys.
And two teams we didn't really discuss in the playoff picture for absolutely obvious reasons. The Ravens and the 49ers.
49ers. I'm not even hesitating in that one.
I mean,
they're too good.
I have the 49ers as well. However, the one thing because I started looking at this game before I knew the format that we were going to be going with for the show, I just assumed this would be one of the ones in the preview. And when I was kind of starting to do my research into this game, a thought occurred to me where I went, well, you know what? It's like this could potentially be a Super Bowl preview. I hate to say that, but I'm going to say it. And because of that, are the teams going to be fully open with their playbooks this week? And because of that reason, I wonder if there might be a bit of an upset in the Ravens. It's not really an upset because the Ravens are really good. I can see the Ravens winning because if the Niners just decide, you know what, let's not really show that much because we might be seeing these guys again in the Super Bowl, like they maybe don't want to give too many looks away. Like I could see that having an impact on the game. But at the same time, though, I still think the Niners are so strong. It's going to be the Niners.
I'm actually going to flip it, guys. Playbooks or no playbooks, I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. I like the Ravens. I like watching them. I know we know the 49ers. We know what the 49ers can do, right? And I think sometimes you get these teams that get to this point in the season where they just have that last run in, they have a blip, or they have a game where they maybe just slip up because they think maybe we're nearly there. I think I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. But this is a game, as you say, could go either way. It's one of those ones. But I'm just going to go with the Ravens on it, just because I want the Ravens to win. More than anything else.
You want that
right. Let's move on to our favourite bit where we all make a mess of it. Fantasy stud and sleeper. So, cover yourself first, studs with a quarterback. So, who have we got?
I'm kind of loath to pick the stud because it just seems like kicking a puppy and things like that, whereas you go Josh Allen against the Chargers. Is there really any way the Chargers could stop Josh Allen? I genuinely think he could put up 40 or 50 points on his own this week. I think the Chargers are that bad. Yeah. So I think the stud, the obvious one there for me is Josh Allen. The next one for sleeper, I reckon you could go one of two ways. You can go Justin Field or Baker Mayfield on these ones. I'm going to go with Justin Fields. Just with addition, just for again, just additional rushing ability that he's got ahead of Baker. I think that's probably where he beats him. So I'll go Justin Fields as my sleeper and Josh Allen as my stud.
Fields against the Cardinals looks like a favourable matchup for him, so there's a good shout. And Baker Mayfield is getting to the point, is he really a sleeper?
No, I think he's 12th overall in the season or something like that. So,
but I give you both those picks. Two good picks. Stu, your running backs.
The stud, as always, feels a bit of a cop out, but there was a whole bunch of players I probably could have picked in this slot, but I'm going to go with Derrick Henry as the stud. Titans versus Seattle, and again, this is just me trying to be, as much as he's an obvious name, I'm just trying to be a slightly left field with it because I look at Seattle and go, they just won like a really, big time game. It's in a short week for them as well. So I could see, as much as I do think Seattle should be able to beat the Titans, especially if Tannehill's coming back in. Not that he's a bad quarterback, but he's not played in a bit and he did not look good earlier this year. But I think that Seattle's run defense has been kind of garbage for most of the season, so I could see King Henry just running completely over the top of them, and that's the Titans' path to victory. For the sleeper, again, I'm going to go slightly left field because I started looking at all these guys going well, DeAndre Swift, he should have a good week. Well, but I'm but that's too obvious. James Cook, for the same reasons you just discussed. Again, almost had him down as the stud, but I'm too obvious. So for sleeper, I'm going to go with Dante Foreman for the Bears against the Cards. Same thing, it's there's or reason he's a sleeper is it could be a bit of a tandem in terms of running backs. I don't actually know who's going to boom out it, and Justin Fields could end up running the ball a bit himself as well, which could take touches away. But I think, you know what, Foreman might still be available in your waiver wire and stuff like that, and maybe he's a guy that could kind of win you a tie, or you can slot in at flex, and he might give you that kind of thing to get you over the hump in your tie this week. So Cards running D has been kind of garbage, so Dante Foreman.
Yeah. If the commissioner doesn't agree to our deal, Stu, then I have Dante Foreman on my bench, so he will be put in.
Forward to seeing him.
Yeah, just a point you made about Henry there. Yeah, Henry in name is a stud, right? He is. Everybody should have him, but the season he's having, he's not.
Yeah.
He's not an automatic first pick in a fantasy team. Definitely not. No. So it's a good shout. Wide receivers, I don't know if this counts a wee bit left field with these two picks, but I looked at the games, I thought, as we try and not pick the obvious ones, you're not going to pick your serial arm, your Tyreek Hill, because nobody's going to start them anyway, so there's no point picking them. So for my stud this week, I went with Mike Evans. I know he probably is a stud, right? But I think with Baker's playing against the Jags, I think that Mike Evans should have a big week this week. So I'm going to go with him as my stud. For my sleeper, I picked this guy a couple of weeks ago on my coupon, and I cursed him. I'm hoping I'm not going to curse him again by making my sleeper. I'm going to go with Michael Pittman. I think the Colts at the Falcons.
Is he fit? Is he out of concussion protocol though? Because that was some hit he took against. Do you not remember the hit he took against the Steelers?
I did, and occasionally get suspended. I forgot.
He's picked him as a sleeper, and he might actually be sleeping.
I was thinking that in my head there, but I didn't want to say it. Let me just have a quick.
I think he's still in concussion protocol. Last I heard yesterday.
He's still in concussion protocol.
Another sleeper.
So Michael Pittman's not playing. Josh Downs.
I moved in the list. Alec Pierce, name another Colts receiver.
Any other Colts receiver suits up. So if Pittman plays, I think he'll have a good game. But if not, we'll go with Josh Downs is next one up, isn't he? So there's Mike Evans and a Colts receiver. There's my two picks. Stud, back to yourself for the tight ends.
I'm going to start my sleeper on this one. So for my sleeper, one of the defense you can get after at the tight end position is a Vic Fangio defense. So for that reason, I'm going to go to New England, and I'm going to go to Hunter Henry against the Broncos as a sleeper. Baylor Zappa likes throwing to him. I know the Patriots, you're kind of rolling your eyes a bit, Dan. I know the Patriots offense isn't exactly firing. But again, similar to what Stu was saying, I kind of tried to think for a sleeper, somebody that's maybe still available in your sleeper on your waiver wire. And I think Hunter Henry fits that bill. I think he got 16, 17 points last week as well.
That's the whole point of this. Picking guys like that, people wouldn't start, or try to give them a bit of heads up at who they could start. So I can understand your logic. I just think they're hilarious at pick up any point. So who's your stud then?
My stud, I am going to go for a homer pick. He's not had the greatest of seasons, but he always turns up against the Raiders, and I'm going to speak it into existence to get me out of the Jobby Bowl playoffs in one of the leagues, and it's going to be Travis Kelce.
I thought we said no agree.
But I'm going to go Travis Kelce.
Studs, I think you've just broke the longest streak in Irn-Cru fantasy stud sleeper history by not picking
Ferguson.
I
did talk.
Between me and Stu, it's been
By
picked
the way,
every week, I think, for weeks.
He is somebody that I looked at today, so he was on my radar. I'll say that, but he's had a couple of down weeks, and I am not convinced. Ramsey shut out Kelsey pretty much in Frankfurt, so it's whether again maybe Ramsey sits on CD Lamb and Ferguson gets open. I don't know, so I just wasn't willing to take that risk.
No, it makes sense. Stu, who's your defences for this week?
Okay, I'm going to go... You just mentioned them there. Interestingly, just in terms of saying Hunter Henry might shred them, but I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos against the Pats as my stud. Again, I was just kind of looking at all the matchups and going like, okay, yeah, the Bills, I can see them having a huge week, but I'm like, they're not going to be available in your waiver wire. And so I thought I was trying to do it as like, well, who's a stud that might actually be out there for you? So the Broncos against the Pats, I think they could do well this week. The Pats' offense has been kind of anemic. Zappi's in, so we'll see how he does. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be enough to kind of overcome them. And the Broncos are going to get themselves back on track to maybe making the playoffs, or at least being in that end of year conversation as we talked earlier on. For my sleeper, I'm going pure sleeper mode now. I'm going to go with the 32nd ranked defense in the entire league, the Washington Commanders. They're playing the Jets this week, so purely just because I'm like, well, with the news that Aaron Rodgers, sure, he's off IR, but they've said he's not suiting up and he's not going to play this year. I think that the fact that they're like already completely out of it, I think their will is already crushed. They've got one foot in Christmas. The Jets are done, whereas the Commanders, I feel like they've still got something to kind of prove in there, even with guys getting traded out. So I could see the Commanders' defense maybe putting up some good numbers for you in fantasy, just by virtue of not conceding points.
Yeah.
And it's Trevor. It's looking like Trevor Simeon they're playing. It's not even looking like Zach Wilson. It's Trevor Simeon, potentially. So makes sense.
Pick the Commanders. We know they're rubbish, but they're not as rubbish as the Jets offense, so it's fine. When I was getting prepped for this, I get myself mixed up. When I prepped these, then I realised I made a mistake. I went with the Broncos, but I went in with sleepers. I went with the Packers as my stud for.
I love the Packers.
The Panthers is an interesting one. The Panthers don't put up a lot of points, and I suppose again with them being so bad last week, they're probably on your waiver wire.
Right, that is true. Anyway, so I decided this week's to mix up. I normally give you the kickers, Stu, and I know you like kickers, but I thought I'm going to take a shot at the kickers. So this week, I actually think I don't really do the kickers. So Stu, you can tell me your opinion on whether these are left field or whether these are actually quite reasonable picks. So I always look at this, who's going to score more field goals, because touchdowns are irrelevant for a kicker, really. So my stud, I went with Chris Boswell for the Steelers. I think they're playing the Bengals, so could be a bit of a cancel each other out, get some loads of field goals.
I have that as a low-scoring game. I think we probably win like 15-12, and it's all field goals. So, I mean, that would say that McPherson should probably win, but maybe Boswell's 4 are all from over 50 yards, and he has been...
There you go, sorry.
I was going to say, he has been pretty lights out, because me, Brian, and Martin...
Oh, yeah.
We have a side bet, our AFC North Kickers side bet, running right now. And interestingly enough, McPherson is actually in third place out of the 3 kickers that are competing in it. But Boswell's still number 1 for completion percentage, like on the year for field goals. So yeah, Boswell, I can get behind that as a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think McPherson, as you say, he's third. I think a lot of people probably just pick McPherson because of who he is as a kicker anyway. If you've got me a team, he tends to start usually. Next one, and I think this went based on the game we've actually picked quite a few players for this game already. I went with Cairo Santos as my sleeper. I think for the Bears.
Yeah.
I think the Bears, obviously at Cardinals, whether it's going to be field goals, they should get good field position. They should move the ball a good bit. Whether they get in the end zone, that's another question. But I think he could be a good shout as a sleeper to pick up some.
Former Kansas City Chief, that's who Butker replaced when he got injured.
Yeah. I actually didn't know who I looked at the games. I thought Bears kicker. I didn't even know it was him. I had to go and look to see who the Bears kicker was. I forgot it was him. So, do those kicker picks meet your approval, Stu?
They do indeed. Yeah, those are definitely. They follow the kind of general rule of like, who do you think is going to be getting more field goals than kind of touchdown, like our PATs kind of thing. So yeah, no, I can get behind those.
Excellent, guys. That was a good few picks tonight. I enjoyed that. I was going to do statistic of the week next, but we've already done that, so let's skip that. So, guys, thank you. It's been great. It's a different format tonight. We mixed it up a bit, but as always, Thursday Night Crew, we get a good discussion in. So, Studs, thanks for joining us again. You're becoming a Thursday night regular.
I know, it's obviously been off for a few weeks and back to appearances and almost back-to-back weeks, I think. So, it's good fun, always good to chat.
Excellent. And Stu, thanks for joining us. You're basically a staple of the Thursday Night Crew now, Stu, so thanks for joining us again.
Oh no, great to be here. Just before I go, Studs, I just wanted to point out your trophy case behind you is looking slightly emptier than the last time I saw you.
Yes.
Back. And that is, gentlemen, because the trophy has finally made its way to me here in Canada. I can't show you it because I'm not at home right now, but Studs, I'll be adding my little thing to it kind of thing pretty soon here, and I'm going to get it in for engraving as well over the Christmas break, so I can add my to the list. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sort of also trying to wait. I'm in the semi-final, so I'm waiting to see if I make the final and if I can maybe keep it in North America and be the first ever winner. Like, I think you've won it more than once, but you did.
I've won it twice. I was in the final 3 years. I won it my first season, then I was in the final again the next 2 seasons and lost both those finals. So I've never been a back-to-back champion in that league.
Yeah, so hopefully I can do that. But no, like Dan, going back to what you were saying, no, pleasure being on board as always, and look forward to talking to you next Thursday.
I'll not be here next Thursday, but somebody will maybe be here next Thursday if we can get out of our Christmas drunken states. Guys, thanks for tonight. I hope you both have a great Christmas with the families. Obviously, I won't see you before that. Everybody that's watching, listening, thanks for watching along. This will be my last preview crew of the year, so thanks for all the support and the following you've given me. Well, I've been hosting this year. I will be back next year. Someone will be here next week. It just won't be me. And I hope everybody that's watching, listening, wherever you are in the world, have a great holiday period and enjoy it with your friends and family. See you all later.
Happy holidays.